How is it going, producer? Thales here, and have you ever wondered why your vocal mixes don't sound present and crispy in your face like the songs you listen in the radio, especially pop music? Maybe you even had a great singer record some takes, but I bet 90% of the times the recording lacks clarity, right? And it's not your fault, nor the singer's. Raw vocal recordings often sound muffled. Of course, it depends on the microphone and gear used, vocal technique, room acoustics, and 100 different factors. But even the best microphones can record muddy vocal takes, and we need to do something about it in post-production. How do we fix that dullness? How do we enhance it to achieve that bigger than life crispiness from pop songs nowadays? Well, it takes some equalization and dynamics processing, but what I want to show you today is a VST plugin that is extremely easy to use, and it helps your vocals stand out, adding that clarity that brings them to the front of the mix. I'm talking about Slate Digital's Fresh Air, and I'm not being sponsored or anything, but I like to recommend it. First, because it's free and I've been using it. It has no learning curve. You only need to adjust 2 knobs and it does its job, whether you use it on a single vocal track, on a vocal group, or on your instruments, drums, and even your entire mix. I want to show you an example. Let's compare the chorus of my latest song, Maybe We'd Be Together, with and without the fresh air. First, let's listen to the isolated vocals without fresh air. I'll bypass it. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. I just can't help but wonder where we could have been. Now, the isolated vocals with fresh air. Let's turn it on. Here we go. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. I just can't help but wonder where we could have been. Isn't it much more intelligible now? It's clear. Let's try it in the mix this time. Bypassed. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. Now I'll turn it on. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. I just can't help but wonder where we could have been. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe you will be mine. Did you notice how the vocals went from kind of a distant place to right in front of your face? It's amazing, right? So how does this plugin work? It has some presets, and it's always good to play around with them, see what combinations the sound engineers who made this had in mind. It's a good starting point, but nothing beats doing your own tweaking, since every song, every recording is different, right? The plugin has these 2 main knobs, which can be linked by clicking this button in the center. I always unlink it so I can tweak the knobs individually. We can use the mid-air knob to add what the sound engineers like to call presence. It brings up the details in the mid-high range in a clean way, makes it sound more crisp and clear. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. I just can't help but wonder where we could have been. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. If we use a spectrum analyzer to look at some pink noise curves while muted and we apply the mid-air knob, look at what's happening behind the scenes. It looks like a high shelf filter starting at around 3 kHz, affecting every frequency above that number, and it adds up to 6 dB. Now, the high air knob to me sounds like a more aggressive beast. It's not harsh, it's actually my favorite, but it affects your high frequencies a lot more. It's like 50% more effective than the mid-air knob. So I usually add just a touch for that pop sparkle. I hardly ever go over 50%. And we could have been smashing grapes in France or dancing in Berlin. I just can't help but wonder where we could have been. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe you would be mine. Again, looking through the spectrum analyzer and cranking it up against pink noise, it looks like another high shelf, this time starting at around 7 kilohertz, adding up to 9 dB to those frequencies, which is a lot. If we go ahead and turn them both up at 100%, look at the crazy curve we got. It's a huge increase. You probably will never have to go anywhere close to that. If you think about it, this plugin almost sounds like you layered the whisper track. Some producers do it manually and have the singer record the words while whispering so they can layer it to the original vocal recording. Or at least they did it before it was possible to do it during the mix with a plugin like this one. Isn't it so much easier now? Just gotta be careful. Because it sounds so good when you turn it on, people tend to crank it up. And although this plugin can be subtle, you still have to be kind of gentle with every mixing decision you make. It's easy to overdo stuff. Moderation is key, especially if your singer is already too breathy, and then you probably don't need to add much more sparkle. Also, when mixing back vocals, I use even less of it because I don't really want them to be super present in the mix. I just need them to sit in the background and support the main vocals with some extra harmony. Listen to those back vocals with fresh air bypassed. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. If it wasn't for him. I'll turn it on this time and you'll notice it brings them just a bit forward since we don't want them to compete for space against the main vocals. We don't want them to steal the spotlight. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. Maybe we'll be together. If it wasn't for him. This one to me was very subtle. Now there's another knob in the corner, the trim knob, that you can use to compensate for the gain that's increased when you turn the other knobs up. Or you can just ignore it like I do and just use your DAW faders to adjust the loudness of your vocal track. Okay, so how do you get started with this VST? Just go to Slate Digital's website, create an account, download it and install it, and boom, your vocal mixes immediately sound better than before. Just throw it on any of your vocal tracks, pick a preset, see if you can hear the difference, then start messing with the knobs until you find that sweet spot. Also, I've seen many people ask me where to place this VST in my mixing chain. I usually have it in my vocal group, which means it comes after my regular EQ, compressors, saturators, but there's no such rule. Place it where it sounds best to your ears. Maybe keep it before any special effects like modulation and reverbs to avoid some unexpected interaction, unless that's your goal, of course. For example, in this track, I do have some reverb and delay before the vocals hit the fresh air in the chain, but they're very subtle. Then I have more noticeable delays and verbs afterwards. It's always your choice. There is one downside to this plugin though. It uses iLok to authorize your license. And because of that, it can get annoying sometimes to get started. But hey, it's a free plugin. Try it out. It's worth it. Sound good? Cool. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if it was helpful, let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel because there will be a lot more videos like this, and I'm counting on you to stick around. I'm Thales, and I'll see you later.